don't you think I really am privileged to be able to make a living from something that I really enjoy doing?
Welcome to Island Influencers, where we share stories of successful business owners, experienced professionals, entrepreneurs and community leaders based or with influence in the Isle of Man. This podcast is brought to you by Thornton Chartered Financial Planners, because great financial planning has the power to change your life. Now here's your host, Chartered Financial Planner Sharon Sutton.
Welcome to this week's episode of Island Influencers, where my guest is none other than Laxey's Colin Partington, who's the owner and founder of Laxey Dental Practice. Originally from Orpington in Kent, Colin, Catherine and their family have very much made the Isle of Man their home since moving here in 1996. I hope you enjoy listening to Colin's powerful story, in which the words tenacity and determination come to mind in the pursuit of his life's purpose. And listen to the end in an episode full of actionable ideas for any aspiring business owner, entrepreneur, or organisational leader. Welcome to Colin.
So pleased to have this conversation with you today, and thanks for being a guest on Island Influencers. I'd really like to kick off our conversation and go back in time, if that's okay with you, and ask you all about, well, eventually leading up to your life on the Isle of Man and why you've ended up coming here. But can you tell me all about where you grew up and where you went to school and university and that sort of thing?
Yeah, certainly. I grew up in Orpington in Kent, which is suburbia. It's 12 miles out the centre of London. And
hence the accent.
You noticed.
Yeah, it's like...
it gets stronger when I talk to my family. Yeah, it was commuter belt. Most people sort of commuted into the centre of London from there. I grew up in a typical 1930s semi-detached house with very loving parents who I suspect had overstretched themselves on their mortgage a little to get a nice house because, we certainly weren't poor. We had shoes on our feet and there was a meal on the table every day, but there wasn't much extra. My holiday times consisted of going to visit relatives while my dad disappeared off to go and see some job somewhere.
No, I think that's just where all dentists came from. I think I've heard similar stories of similar dentists having similar holidays around that time in the formation, in their former lives, earlier lives.
Yeah, my dad was an engineer, and they used to make specialist measuring equipment, and one of their customers was Rolls-Royce. And I spent many a happy hour in the car parking crew while he was going fixing machines.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Why particularly?
We used to have to tag along, and we were going on holiday, going to see my nana up in Liverpool. Right. We just stop off here on the way.
Blimey. So what was in the car park? Was there lots of rollers or,
No, it was just the car park where the kids had to wait until Dad had finished work.
Right, okay. What fun. I think it's called Alton Towers these days.
But it was, we knew no difference, and it was just how life was.
Yeah, sure. So
And then the school that I went to was quite bizarre, really, because it was called Charterhouse, which is a big public school, but ours couldn't have been further from that if you tried. Ours was a secondary modern school that was called Charterhouse because it was in Charterhouse Road.
Okay.
Had it been in the road above it, I would have gone to Eton.
Oh, really? So you could have gone to Eton Road School as well?
I could.
Blimey.
No, but it was. But the thing was, it wasn't called Charterhouse Road School. It was just Charterhouse, and
lovely.
It has been. So anyway, it sounds it, but I can promise you, it wasn't.
Oh gosh, really?
And,
that's where quite a big thing happened in your life, wasn't it? A Charterhouse.
It was, I met Catherine, my wife, there. The two schools, there was a boys' school and a girls' school divided by swinging doors. And
not very effective then.
No. But once we got to the sixth form, those doors swung open and the boys met the girls. And Yeah,
Rest is history then.
Rest is history, yeah.
Wow.
So that's where we met.
Gosh, that's lovely.
Oh, it is nice, yeah.
Yeah. So when what happened then? Because you did O-levels there, I guess.
I did O-levels, but I didn't exactly excel, but I did manage to pass both of them.
Right.
And I got metalwork and technical drawing and left. I went to my careers advisor there, called us in one by one, and he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I don't really know." And he said, "Well, make up your mind because the jobs are going quick. Next."
No, really?
Honestly, that was it.
Oh my goodness. So what did you do?
So I went and got a job with the RAC in Croydon because I like cars. And
we've been in car parks.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So I went to work for the RAC, but it was an office job, nothing practical.
Right.
And I'd been there at least 10 minutes before I realised that I could not do this for the rest of my life. So there's only one way out, and I went to evening class. I did 3 nights a week to do O-levels, and I did, I can't remember now, maths, English and physics, I think. Passed those, and that gave me the 5 O-levels that I needed to get onto an A-level course. Catherine's dad is a dentist, and that got me sort of thinking about the dentistry thing. Okay. And I was far too cocky in those days, and I thought, I'll just go and do biology, chemistry and physics, having only got physics at O-level, and chucked into an A-level course, and suffice it to say, I didn't do very well, and I didn't get the grades that I needed to get into dental school. So it was suggested that I did dental technology. And so I got an apprenticeship at King's College and became a dental technician. So once I qualified as a technician, I went to Guy's and did an advanced course in prosthodontics. And I was still looking over my shoulder thinking I'd rather do dentistry. I enjoyed the technical side of being a dental technician, but it's actually quite a lonely job. You get a box coming in, you do the work, and then the box goes out. You don't really meet anyone.
So I wouldn't, if I wasn't married to a dentist, I wouldn't know what a dental technician does. So maybe our listeners don't know what a dental technician would do.
The dental technicians are the people who make all the appliances and bits that go in your mouth for the dentist. So if you have a crown made, it's made by the dental technician, or a denture or a bridge, or the orthodontic appliances, they're all made by dental technicians. So the artistry of it, really, I suppose. It is very artistic, but it's also quite scientific as well, because and it's you get to play with lots and lots of toys and lots of materials, and it's very diverse because you're using metals, ceramics, plastics, and you learn how to weld, you learn how to solder. So technically it was interesting, but as I say, it's just a bit lonely, really. Yeah. So I thought, what did you do? Yeah. Well, I decided that to get the sort of contact or more contact with people, I did a teaching course, and so I was able to teach further education, sort of adults, not children. And managed to get a job up at Manchester Polytechnic, as it was then, as a lecturer. So Catherine and I at the time had 2 children. We were living in Bromley in Kent, and so we upped sticks and went up to Manchester. I got a job as a lecturer. I threw myself wholeheartedly into that, and I tried very hard, but I still couldn't get it out of my head that I wanted to be a dentist, not a lecturer or a technician or whatever. But the Polytechnic at the time was introducing a degree course, and you can't teach the degree level if you haven't got a degree yourself. So they sponsored me to do a degree part-time, but it had to fit in with my teaching commitments. Yeah, so the only course that was vaguely technical and fitted in with the teaching was physics. So I went to do a physics degree. Oh my goodness! And then I was coming up to 30, and I knew that there was a cut-off age of a dental school at that time. I don't think that's the case anymore, but at that time, they wouldn't take anybody over the age of 30. And so approaching 30, I thought, well, I'm going to give it one more go. And I stuck the application form in, and I let them know at the Polytechnic this is what I was doing. And they supported me wholeheartedly. They were so good.
That's brilliant.
And I got an interview, and I distinctly remember one of the panel said that I had a checkered career. But they offered me a place, and I was absolutely thrilled. And I loved university. I thought it was a fantastic time. It was rather different for me because I had a wife and kids, and the social side of the university, I felt I didn't benefit from. The social side, when they were going to the pub and enjoying themselves, I was going home to a wife and children, which I was very happy to do. The stimulation of being at university was just fantastic for me. I can remember very clearly going into the lecture theatre for the first time. The first year was spent with the medics, and so there was a couple of hundred trainee doctors and dentists all in one big lecture theatre with a world-renowned expert in anatomy or something at the front. And I just found it awe-inspiring. It was such a privilege to be there. And I felt I tried quite hard to get into university, and I just thought it was such a privilege. At the time, it made me a little cross that a lot of my peers, it was their right to be there, and they just walked into it, whereas I had to struggle.
Well, anybody listening to your story will just be so inspired by your tenacity and just having a go until you got where you wanted. And because you want to do what you're doing, you've got your purpose, haven't you?
Yes.
To me, anybody I'm your patient, so anybody who knows who's your patient, who comes in and sees you, can tell that you wholly love what you do and you're doing your calling. So
I do. That's thank you. But don't you think I really am privileged to be able to make a living from something that I really enjoy doing? It's
totally.
It's something my dad always said to me when we were in the car park in Crewe. He said that if you don't enjoy what you're doing, just go and do something else, because life's too short, and you've spent far too long at work not to enjoy it. If you're resenting going to work, then you've just got to do something else. And it was good advice.
No, absolutely. There is none better. I think Steve Jobs said something like that, funny enough, when he was...
did he? Right.
When he was lecturing sometime after your dad. So he must have been listening to your dad. So, what happened after university?
Well, you can imagine that financially, university was a little draining because it's amazing after spending 5 years at university how the car, the washing machine, everything needs replacing.
And I bet interest rates weren't being put on pause like they are at the moment.
Absolutely, no, that's 14% right.
Or something.
It was odd though, because throughout university I worked. I got a job as a security guard, which is the best job ever for a student because you get paid to study. I was looking after a chemical factory, and I had my little hut that I used to sit in at weekends, and I did nights as well. And you had to do a patrol of the factory every hour and then come back and study. And you get quite annoyed when somebody came to the gate and said, "Can I go?" So, "Can't you see I'm studying? Go away."
Did they?
No. But it was great. And I'm pretty sure that Catherine and I came out of university with a smaller debt than a lot of my peers who've been going to the pub. Anyway.
That's good.
So then after university, you do what's called vocational training, and you go into a training practice. While we were at university, Catherine had a small business doing work processing, and she was asked to type up an MBA for somebody who turned out to be a local dentist. He said, "Do you want to come and work for me?"
Yeah, what are the chances? Gosh.
So I ended up doing my vocational training with him.
Yeah.
And that was in Marple, near Stockport.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I enjoyed it, but I just didn't feel that it was the right practice for me.
Yeah. Was it NHS or?
No, it was NHS, but he was trying very hard to convert it into a private practice.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Which is difficult. And hence why he was doing the MBA.
Yep.
And he was quite driven, and he wanted me to sell dentistry, and I'm just not comfortable doing that. I just don't, it doesn't sit well with me.
Okay.
So during the vocational training year, where all the students come together, and once a week, you sort of talk over your problems, and there's have some lectures and what have you. And the boss fella there had an NHS practice in Macclesfield, and I think I must have said something to him about, well, I'm not too comfortable where I am. He said, well, come and work for me. So the next year, I stayed on at Marple part-time and went part-time with him to work in a pure NHS practice.
Yeah, sure.
And at that time, it was under the old contract. It was so different to working in Marple. Everything was down to cost cutting and banging out as much work as you possibly could in the shortest amount of work. Very fast and use as few and cheap materials as you possibly can. And again, that didn't sit well with me either. And so I had these two practices that neither, while I enjoyed the work and the way I was working, I just didn't feel great.
Yeah, sure.
At university, I was with someone who is Manx, and they'd come back to the Isle of Man and set up a practice in Douglas.
Right.
And they got in contact with me and said, well, come and work for me. So come and have a look. And so I did. But, the first thought was go to the Isle of Man. Well, why would I want to do that? Having never been here.
Sure.
I'd wanted to come for many years because of the TT, but TT is always in exam week. And so I never actually got here.
Try asking any Isle of Man student who has to take their O-levels or GCSEs and A-levels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, Catherine and I came over, and we absolutely fell in love with the Isle of Man, and we've continued to love it ever since. It's a beautiful place. So I worked in Douglas, and in 1999, I got very interested in dental implants and did a year's course on implantology.
I guess that was cutting edge right back then. Implants.
Strangely enough, no. Dental implants go back 50 odd years.
Golly, I didn't know.
They've been around for a long, long time, and but it's only in the last probably a decade or so that they have become very mainstream, should we say? Yeah. So at that time, yes, they weren't common.
I need one.
I really love dental implants because it's Meccano. It's great. And
what boy doesn't? Huh?
Exactly. Boys and their toys, eh? So after that, I decided that I would set up practice on my own, and that's when, in 2002, started the practice in Laxey just on my own. Yeah. implantology, again, at that time was very small, and so I couldn't possibly just rely on that. And I still enjoyed doing, and I still do enjoy doing, the variety of work that the general practice brings. So I still do an awful lot of general dentistry along with the implants.
Yeah, sure.
But as the practice has grown, the implants seem to be taking over a little. And the surgery grew from just being me to being 2 to being 3, and now we have 4 treatment rooms.
Great. So what about the specialisms? I guess implants 1, general dentistry. What
yes,
else?
That's
what else
it.
Is it. That's it. Okay.
It's general dentistry and
implants.
And implants.
Right.
Yeah. We've got a philosophy at Laxey that we're there for dental health, and our focus is strictly on the health rather than the. I think that if you're doing good dentistry, it is aesthetic. There shouldn't be that distinction between doing aesthetic dentistry where you're
so not cosmetic for
not cosmetic. No.
Yeah.
But the what you should be doing should be aesthetic, of course.
Yeah, sure. Okay. No, I get that. Thanks very much. You were telling me just before we started the call about the situation currently, and it does not looking good for the reopening of surgeries for another month.
No, it isn't. It's a worrying time because we have a lot of staff that we care desperately about, that we want to take care of, but it's difficult to see how we can see them through this period when the way they're proposing us to reopen, they're patently obviously not going to be all needed. So whether we do it on a rota system or it depends how long this is going to last, I think. Yeah,
it's not going away anytime soon, is it, coronavirus, and how we deal with it? We need to come up with some innovative ways to deal with it than maybe are being suggested currently. I don't know.
It was all of a sudden. One day we were allowed to see emergencies for a week, and then they said no more. So it was very sad that people are sort of mid-treatment and what have you. We just had to say, well, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to wait. And it was, how long are we going to have to wait? Well, about as long as that bit of string, I'm afraid. And we still don't know. We're hoping to get some answers tomorrow from the department to give us some sort of timescale. But it really looks as if it's going to be at least a month before we're even able to start anything.
So anything else you want to say about working from home, what you've been able to do, what you've been using the time to do?
We've been trying to prepare the surgery ready for the comeback and trying to predict what we need to do. And there's some sort of practical things like putting out the Perspex screen for the receptionists.
Yeah.
And trying to sort out where people are going to change. At the moment, it's quite ad hoc, and we need a dedicated area where the staff can change and put things in lockers and then put their dirty clothes to be washed, etc. So it's all those sort of practical things that we're just sort of trying to think them through and get the practicality sorted out.
Yeah, and what about your supply of PPE? How is that?
It's disastrous. Trying to get hold of it is very difficult. You can imagine that everybody and his dog wants PPE at the moment. It's not just the dental profession, and so it is incredibly short supply. So until we can get that as well, we simply cannot open.
Well, look. If you don't mind me asking, and primarily I ask this when I meet people in my role as a financial planner. I mean, what's your earliest memory of money?
As a child?
Yeah.
Getting my pocket money from my dad, who used to, and my dad's coming into this an awful lot, isn't he? But we used to go swimming, and he'd give it to me at the bottom of the swimming pool. He'd throw it in and say, "There it is, go get it."
That's a way to make you learn to swim.
It worked. One of my claims to fame, I was the youngest boy ever to get the bronze national survival medal.
I'm not surprised.
And that was my peak. It was all downhill from then.
Oh, goodness. That's a great story. That's a really great story. So, so all the things you've done throughout your life then, so far,
yes.
What's given you the most fulfillment from a professional basis, but from a personal perspective also, of course?
Personal, it's got to be my children. I have 3 lovely girls. They've all gone into some sort of allied health profession. They're all quite caring. But the really lovely thing is that they've turned out to be nice people. And that means so much to me.
Yeah, it certainly does. Are they all on the island, or are they?
They are. They've been away for a bit. My eldest was away for 4 years in Australia and New Zealand, and she came back and has bought a property literally across the valley from me in Laxey. So not far away at all.
So if you see smoke signals, it's
absolutely, yes.
The tea, can I come to yours?
So from going from the other side of the world to the other side of the valley, that was pretty good. The middle daughter didn't go away for as long, but she was away for a couple of years, again in New Zealand. So she saw a bit of the world. The 2 of them were in New Zealand at the same time, but a few hundred miles apart. So They didn't see too much of each other while they were there. But they experienced New Zealand at the same time. Okay. And she's come back to the island and bought the house next door.
There's a trend here.
There is, yeah. And then the youngest, she's in Douglas, so she's miles away.
Yes. You're honorary Manx already. There you go.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely. And what about professionally? Is that going to be? Is that your career? Do what you've done? Yeah,
I think so.
It's a real vocation for you, isn't it? A real calling.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I honestly can't imagine doing anything else. I have lots of hobbies, but the job is my hobby as well.
Yeah, it's handy, isn't it? Yeah, I'm very lucky in my role too. I find the same thing. I love doing what I do. So if you find that, I feel so sorry for people who don't enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
When they work, because it's you spend a lot of hours doing this, don't you? So
yeah.
But hey, I get to podcast to meet people like you too. So that's good fun. Okay, so for any existing or aspiring business owner or entrepreneur, what would be your number 1 business tip?
Don't start any business that you're not passionate about. You have to believe in it. And if you're going into business thinking that you're going to make money, well, good luck to you, but you're not going to enjoy it. Do something that you really, really enjoy doing. And that way you can have the biggest chance of your business being successful. But you're going to enjoy your day-to-day work. Don't look at the numbers too closely. Just make sure that whatever you do it to your best ability, and work at it. I'm afraid there are very, very few things in life that people are naturally gifted at, and they just get handed it on a plate. The Beckhams of this world didn't get that good without practicing very, very hard. And I think people forget that.
I think you're right. I think isn't the same. Was it Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book? It was the key was 10,000 hours. You had to do 10,000 hours of something to be good at it.
Oh, I'm sure that's absolutely right. And you don't become a concert pianist by practicing once a week. No. It's you have to work at it. And but if you love playing the piano, that's not a chore.
Well, I'd agree. So what do you do to relax then, talking about piano playing? I haven't seen one in the surgery.
Anything with an engine makes me happy. So I love tinkering with things that go pop. But my biggest toy is that I love to fly. I learned how to fly about 10 years ago. My lovely daughters bought me a trial lesson, right. and it just went on from there.
Oh my goodness!
So I learned how to fly, and I do enjoy that. And while I love the Isle of Man, it's absolutely tremendous to be able to fly yourself off and go to Scotland and Ireland and Wales and England. And I have flown to France before, but
what's the range of the plane that you fly?
Well, it's the range of the plane is probably about 700 miles, but the range of my bladder probably doesn't.
Small aeroplanes, no porta potty. Okay,
that's right. It.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So, what? Tell me then, what are the best things that you think about living in the Isle of Man?
I think that it is tremendous that you can go for a walk and not see anyone.
Especially at the minute.
We have some beautiful beaches, and the scenery is just stunning, and you can enjoy it without being toe-to-toe with a dozen other people. Yeah. The Lake District is lovely, and but boy, is it crowded. And you go there on a busy weekend, and it really isn't that pleasant. Whereas here, it's a hidden gem. It's great.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's funny. I interviewed Rebecca George from the Chamber of Commerce, who's from North London, and she said about the Isle of Man, the beach is exactly the same. You know, you just appreciate it when you come from England. You know, where it's really, really busy. It's something you really notice here about wide open spaces and, the beaches.
Yes. Yeah. Another 10 degrees and it would be perfect.
Yeah, then it would be crowded, Colin.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So tell me what you think the main challenges are that the Isle of Man faces.
Oh, without a doubt, we've got to find a new role. The finance industry has obviously gone through a massive change over the last few years, and I don't think we're going to recover that business back again. I am concerned about the e-gaming business, because I have just got my own feeling, not being in that business, is that they could drop us as quick as they can if they find a more favourable jurisdiction somewhere else.
Well, I guess I hear anecdotally that they're doing all right at the moment with Dan.
Well, but I dare say, But it would be lovely to find something that we could excel at. We need that niche, and I think that the concept of having clusters here is very important. I believe that there's quite a few drug companies that on the island that not manufacturing but on the business side, and they do seem to collect together, which I think is great.
Innovation.
That sort of thing. And whether we could get a specialist manufacturing base for really high-tech stuff. You've got all the problems of transport for the high-volume stuff, but for the small, very specialist engineering, I think that we can attract the talent here. And
do you see it healthcare sector related?
I think that we have a lot of business opportunities here for healthcare. People are prepared to travel for health, and if we become a centre of excellence for a particular form of treatment, then I think we could attract people here.
That's an interesting idea. So I mean that would be a great opportunity, right? So
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Do you have any ideas from dentistry or?
Dentistry is a difficult one because I don't think that there's a particular area of dentistry that the Isle of Man could excel at that you can't get in one of the big cities anywhere in the world.
Yeah, sure.
But I think in a more specialist area, even sort of orthopedics or something, where if we became a centre of excellence for hips, for knees, for whatever, I'm sure that service would be utilised.
Okay. So, Colin, what have you got planned next? I mean, it's difficult to kind of see, isn't it, beyond the immediate, but, sort of short term, and then...
in the short term is obviously to get over this COVID business, and that is going to be a heck of a challenge for us. And the phrase "the new normal" has been bandied about, but we honestly do not have a clue what the new normal will be. And I think in the short term, that is definitely going to be our that's what's going to occupy me for the next year, probably. I can't see it changing dramatically in that time. But we've been here before. Pre-AIDS, dentists worked in a completely different way, and their cross-infection control was nothing like as onerous as it is now.
Yes.
As far as I'm aware, nobody ever died from it, but you simply could not get away with what you get away with now.
No, I remember Jules, my husband, said exactly that. We operated right through the AIDS crisis, and nobody seemed to get affected by it. But yeah, the coronavirus is seemingly highly infectious.
Some of the stories that you hear from the past, I mentioned earlier that my father-in-law is a dentist, and he told me that when he was first practicing, he's 90, by the way, so we're going back a few years now. But when he first started in practice, they used to change the needle every fifth patient, whether they needed it or not.
Oh dear. Yeah. Sugar's got an awful lot to answer for, isn't it?
And this is just horrific.
Oh dear.
And it really wasn't that many years ago that dentists were not wearing gloves. It's changed again now. We've just gone up another notch, I think.
Yeah, we have. We can't predict the future. I don't suppose we should try. We just to sort of prepare and educate ourselves and keep learning.
Yeah. And then beyond that, I just want the practice to continue with the reputation which I hope that has come across. That it is very, very important to me that the practice is well respected. I don't know whether that's an insecurity thing, that sometimes I feel that I'm an imposter, that I really should.
Imposter syndrome, well known. It is, it's a well-known phenomenon, yes. But
did I really deserve to get into university?
The story you told me. Yeah, definitely.
But I didn't get the A-levels like I should have done. And
no secret.
Yeah.
No, I didn't either. I was 43 when I got to be chartered. But, Luke was a good baby, so he would sleep and I would stay in and study. So, Colin, when we go through these podcasts, there's a number of questions I ask all of my guests, and I know listeners are interested to just have a couple of quick fire answers. But I mean, any books that you've read recently or that you'd want to recommend to listeners? Anything that's been a source of inspiration or self-development, philosophy.
Oh, yes.
Anything. Yeah.
It's an absolute must-read for absolutely everybody is Black Box Thinking.
Oh, okay. Who's that by?
Now I'll have to look it up.
That's okay. We can find that and put it we can put it in the show
Yeah.
notes. So link to that.
It is fantastic. It's about marginal gains.
Okay.
Not doing everything, and also just recognizing that when you're wrong and admitting it, really, and it's not such a bad thing. But I think it has to be compulsory reading for the Department of Health, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds a good one to read, actually. Anything else? I mean, I take it you read a fair amount, do you, of stuff, business books like this?
No, I don't. I read an awful lot of dental journals and
sure.
sort of professional stuff, but on the business side, I'm afraid it gets neglected.
Yeah, we're working in the business and on the business. It's difficult to get the balance sometimes.
Yeah.
So how much CPD do you have to do? Continuing professional development a year? Does a dentist have to do these days?
It's on a 5-year cycle, and it's 100 hours in 5 years, which is actually not that onerous. No. It worries me a little that it's very easy to tick the boxes, and they've specified that it's 100 hours of CPD, and you can do that online and do the quiz at the end of it. You clock your hours, but have you really gained anything from it? I'm not so sure. I think if you're interested, you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you get a practicing certificate, an annual practicing certificate? Or
yes.
Yeah, we do as well. Same sort of thing.
Yeah. We're governed by the General Dental Council, and you have to be registered with them to be able to practice dentistry legally. It is concerning that there are no dentists on the GDC anymore. So the people that are overseeing us really haven't got a clue what we do.
Goodness, I'm sure they will have. They'll have advisors to their board. I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
It'll be good corporate governance. Practice.
It is worrying though when the General Dental Council take out large advertisements in national newspapers to say that has your dentist been bad to you? Come and let us know. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay. Regulators, hey.
Yeah, but I think they're working on it.
Yeah. It sounds like they might have a bit of a PR message. I mean, what are they trying to do? Surely they should be trying to, I don't know, promote confidence and
absolutely, yeah,
consumer trust.
Whether this was some misguided attempt to do that or not, but it was just very bizarre.
Yeah, sounds like
if you've got a complaint against your dentist, let us know.
God. Yeah, that's very poor. Yeah, I think they could do with a bit of help there. Suggest they change their consultant. So what's your favourite quote? Have you got a favourite quote?
Do you know what? I heard, it's on a similar theme, but it was from Paul Daniels, the magician. Yeah. And he said that he very often gets asked, how did he become rich being a magician? And he said, it's easy. You find something that you enjoy doing and you're passionate about, and you work at it until you find that you become quite good at it. And then you work even harder. Yeah. And you will become rich. If you're very lucky, you might even earn some money doing it.
That's great. That's a really, really inspirational quote, that. He's a good man, wasn't he, Paul?
Not a lot.
He was fun. Hours of endless entertainment on a Saturday night, all innocent fun. Yeah, that's great. Well, so where can people go to learn more about you and the work that you're doing through?
We have a website and we have a Facebook page. But I don't think there's anything better than actually just giving me a call. And if you have a query, I'm very happy to chat.
Oh, that's lovely. So even during now, you're available on the phone?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If they phone the surgery, they will get my mobile number because, of course, we're not down there all the time. So,
yeah, sure.
But I get my mobile and, have a chat.
Okay. Sounds great. I'll put that in the show notes as well. So not your mobile number, but the link to the website and the Facebook page. So we'll get that on. All right. Well, apart from that, I think that's. Thank you so much for your help in the project. That'll do. Yeah, that's really kind of you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Island Influencers from Thornton Chartered Financial Planners. To find out more and for useful links, visit thorntonfs.com/podcasts.